on Dr. Phill. She claims her husband kidnapped her kids.
He had the right to keep them from me.
She hasn't seen them in 46 years.
2 of her long-lost children are here.
But this reunion...
She remembers you beating her.
I have never touched her.
...brings painful memories.
Remember poking him with safety pins?
Never.
Pushing me in the bathtub and cracking my head open?
Whoever told you that was a liar.
I remember it. How could it be a lie?
Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phill.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phill.
Today, we are getting to the bottom of a decades-old family mystery. Now, this is Dottie, her husband, Bill, and her 3 children, Tommy, Teresa, and Tim. Now, they seem like a loving family, right? But 45 years ago, Dottie disappeared. The children always wondered what happened to their mom, obviously, right? Did she abandon them? Did she die? What happened to them? Well, it turns out that Dottie really didn't disappear at all. She still exists. In fact, she says her ex-husband kidnapped her children, and she has spent her entire life searching for them. Now, she recently enlisted the help of my good friend, Troy Dunn, also known as the Locator, to help find her missing children. What Dottie doesn't know, and I'm gonna let you guys in on, is that Troy has found all 3 kids. All right? Now, 2 of them are here today. Teresa is here, and her younger brother, Timmy, is here. But Teresa's memories of Mom, well, they're just not what you might think.
My life with my mother was horrible. My mother was a very angry woman. She never smiled. She was mean. She abused me and my 2 brothers.
So, if that's true, what kind of reunion is this going to be? Well, Dottie is still in her dressing room. She hasn't been listening or watching. She has no idea that her children have been found. She has no idea that her children are here. But before we meet anyone in this story, I want to hear Dottie's version of this decades-old mystery. Take a look.
Bill and I had 3 children. My children were my life. I loved them. The abuse started 6 months into the marriage. If I didn't have supper on the table at 6 p.m., I got knocked around. He kicked me in my stomach when I was 6 months pregnant. He broke my elbow, he broke my wrist and my thumb. One time I was ironing a shirt and he yanked the iron out of the wall and threw it at me, split my head open. Another time he tried to kill me with a gun. He took out a service revolver and shot me. I have the scar on my arm right here. I had to get out of the situation. When I filed for divorce, I agreed to joint custody. The last day I saw my kids was Thanksgiving of 69. Bill was supposed to pick him up at 2 o'clock. He never returned them. I never saw my kids again. As the days went by, I came to the conclusion that he's left the state. My kids were my life. There isn't a day or a night that goes by that I don't think and wish I knew. And I just hope that somewhere out there, somebody knows.
Now, when we tracked down Tim and Teresa, 2 of Dottie's children, they had a very different recollection of their childhood. Take a look.
My life with my mother was horrible. She abused me. She abused my brothers in several different ways. My mother fed me bourbon balls and pushed me into the bathtub and cracked my head open. My father had to take me to the emergency room to have stitches put in.
I don't remember my mom ever abusing us. I remember what I was told.
She used to poke safety pins through my little brother's skin. He's got scars from changing his diaper. My older brother, she nearly drowned him in the bathroom sink. She strapped him on his potty chair and locked him in a closet.
She was kind of portrayed to me as crazy, abusive. I was told that she had gone crazy and was in an asylum.
The last time that I saw my mother, I was 5 or 6 years old. I remember when I was 5, an officer asking me who I wanted to live with, my father or my mother, and I told them my father because my mother was mean to me.
I was 3 when my parents got divorced, so I think my dad did everything in his power to keep the 3 kids with him.
There was something that he must not have liked about her, and he moved us out of the situation.
Years later, when I went back to visit my grandmother, I said, whatever happened to my mom? And she was like, didn't you know that your daddy kidnapped you from your mother? Your mom was crazy, and she didn't care about you. You're with your dad now, and your dad loves you and is going to take care of you.
My dad was a good dad. I loved him very much.
My mom was always portrayed to me as a villain. So she's always been a villain in my mind.
Okay, it's good to meet y'all. I mean, this is obviously a very important day. You know that we have found your mother. What she doesn't know that we found you. She doesn't know that you're here. She's not listening to this right now. She's not seeing this right now. We have her sequestered, and she's going to come out soon, and I'm going to talk to her. You do have recollections about your mother, correct?
Yes.
And they are not warm and fuzzy.
No, she abused me. She abused my 2 brothers.
And when you say she abused you, what did she do that you recall?
She pushed me in the bathtub. I cracked my head open. My dad took me to the emergency room to get stitches.
Could it have been an accident?
I don't think so.
You remember it as being a violent
She was mean.
sort of thing.
She was a very mean woman. She never smiled, never laughed.
You said that your brother had scars.
He has scars on his
and
side from the safety
you
pins.
remember that.
I used to push her out of the way to change his pants. I'm only 2 years older than he is. Because I didn't want to hear him scream every time she'd change his diaper.
And you don't
push him with the
remember this,
pin.
but you do have the scars.
Correct.
How do y'all feel about being here today?
I don't hold a grudge against her. She is my mother. I gotta let go of what has happened and learn to like her, possibly love her.
Even though you recall her being mean and vicious to you and your 2 brothers.
I can't get to the top if I don't let go.
Look, I want to talk to Dottie alone. I want to get her side of the story. Again, she has no idea at this point that 2 of her long-lost children are even here. And so I'm going to ask Teresa and Tim to wait backstage where they will be allowed to listen to what Dottie has to say. I'm not going to let you see her.
Okay.
Because I want you to do that for the first time here. But I do want you to have opportunity to listen to her and see what story she tells so you can respond to it when you come out, and then we're going to all get together and try to get to the bottom of this, okay?
Sounds good.
Are you ready to do that?
Absolutely.
All right, good deal. So in a few minutes, as I said, Troy Dunn is here, and he's going to bring Dottie out right after the break.
He was supposed to return the children to my parents' home by 7:30 Thanksgiving evening.
And you've never seen him again?
I haven't seen him since.
For 45 years, Dottie has been searching for her 3 children who she says were kidnapped by her abusive ex-husband, Bill. Now, she says he abused her, not them. She says she has tried everything to find her missing children, but just simply didn't have any luck. Now, Dottie recently enlisted the help of Troy Dunn. Now, you guys may know Troy as the locator, and she wanted to see if he could find some answers. Take a look.
Have you ever wondered if they have ever looked for you, and if not, why not?
I have no idea. Unless they were told that I was dead when they were young.
It's very possible that they may not know the same version of what happened. I would say there's a handful of people who would know, which would be everyone who was related to your ex-husband. So for an entire family to collectively make a decision to hide children from their mother is an unusual scenario.
It took a lot of work, I'm sure.
So your belief is that your ex-husband Bill took to his grave the location of your children?
Yes, I do.
In all of the 45 years, has there been a time where you stopped looking for your children?
Never. They're mine. I was supposed to protect them, and I lost them.
Do you really want a relationship with these children?
I want them in my life if they want to be in my life.
Well, 45 years is a very, very long time. It'll be one of the oldest cases that I've worked on.
Okay, well, I'm here with Dottie and Troy. 45 years, that's a big gap to try to fill in, right?
That is an almost impossible gap. I mean, when you talk about a search that's 45 years old, you're talking about something that predates all technology that we have today.
Exactly.
It predates the memories of almost anyone that would have ever been involved.
So let me find out what happened, because I think this is very important if this is going to come to any kind of fruition. We're talking 1969.
Yes.
And it's Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
And you've never seen him again?
I haven't seen him since.
You think it's just a routine drop-off to their father?
It was supposed to be his first legal holiday visitation.
So this was the first time?
The first time.
And when did you realize they weren't coming back? What happened?
Well, I had to go to work. For many, many years, I've been a nurse. He was supposed to return the children to my parents' home by 7:30 Thanksgiving evening.
Did you call the police?
I called the police. I went to the grandparents' residence, and I went up to the door with the police officer, and she said that they weren't there, they hadn't been there, she didn't know where they were, and quit bothering her. I had to wait till Monday to call my attorney because he was off on the weekend.
Well, wait a minute. This is Thursday, because it's Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Day.
And so Thursday to Friday, Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday, these like long weekend here, 4 days. Right. You don't do anything?
The police contacted both my attorneys. My attorney called me and said that there wasn't anything he could do till Monday. He couldn't even get a hold of my ex's attorney. And so there wasn't anything we could do. And
what about the police, though?
The police couldn't do anything either. They could not step in because it was a domestic thing, and they didn't get involved in those days.
Okay, but did you file a missing persons report?
I did, and they said that it wouldn't do any good till after 72 hours.
So you're just in a vacuum?
That's right.
Did you drive around and look? Did you go back over to the house?
I went back to his parents' house. I went and knocked on the door, and they said if I didn't leave them alone, they would call the police. I told them, go ahead. I wasn't hiding. I had never hidden.
Because I'm just, this was 1969.
That's right.
And I remember 1969. I was 19. At the time.
We're the same age back then because I was 19 at the time also. Or well, I was like 23, I guess. I was 19 when I got married. So, you're not a young man, I know. But you don't look old.
Well, I think your math is way to hell off. He shot you with a gun?
Yes, he did.
Why did he do that?
He was angry because I was putting the wrong clothes out that he was supposed to wear that night to work.
you do everything, but you can't find them. So, Troy, it just doesn't smell right to me. She knows where the parents are. The police are there. How can...
You know, I came into this with the same unusual feeling that you're having too. But I come into most of these searches trying to be I'm a big believer that there's three sides to every story, his, hers, and the truth. And so I'm always looking for that third version. But honestly, everything that she tells about that era is accurate. The way that the police handled the situation, the fact that it was a holiday weekend in a small town where things shut down. I think, and I told her this when we met, I would have had a tent and a chair and a cold beverage set up on the front yard of the house and said, well, I'm not freaking leaving here until somebody tells me where my kids are. She took a different approach, which is she came back to the house a few times. But in 1969, a 19-year-old girl, I think she used all the resources she knew to use. She went to the house, she went to the police, she went to her attorney.
She was 29, by the way, but go ahead.
I was not.
Go ahead.
He says I was old enough to know better, but too young to care is what he's saying.
There you go. Well, he gave away your secret. I didn't. I just want to make sure you were clear. I actually believe that Dottie did everything she could do at that, short of kicking in the door. I think she did all she knew to do at that point in her life.
45 years have passed here. It just, have you continued to look?
I was just going to say, it doesn't mean I stopped looking.
Yeah. You did keep looking?
Always.
I mean, was this a...
Every
everyday thing and every week thing and every month thing?
Every single day that I could take off work,
Did you find him?
No.
Did he change his name?
I have no idea.
How long were y'all married?
9.5 years.
Okay, so you knew his Social Security number, you had records?
I have no idea what his Social Security number was because he kept it hidden, and every time he'd change clothes, he'd make sure that all his personal stuff was in another area so I didn't see it.
Yeah.
He was like...
He shot you with a gun?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
If I mess up my jacket, they'll get mad.
Well, no, you do. You do have a scar there.
Yeah, there's a scar on my arm.
Something happened to your arm there, no doubt about it. Why did he do that?
Because he was angry because I was putting the wrong clothes out that he was supposed to wear that night to work.
Are you ever going to give up till you find these kids?
Never.
Why is it so important to you?
They're mine. He had the right to take them. And keep them from me. I feel that I let them down because I didn't protect them from their father.
And you're going to want them, if you ever find them, you're going to want them to know.
That's right.
That you looked.
That's right. And I never abandoned them. I've always loved them. I'll always love them. They're mine. God gave them to me.
Do you think he gave them a good life?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no clue. Yeah. If he treated me the way he treated me, which he did, I'm not lying about that. I couldn't lie about that. How do I know how he treated his own children?
All right, well, let's take a break. Coming up, Troy has some information for Dottie about her kids, but it just may not be what she thinks. We're going to find out more when we come back. And he has found out information about your children. Are you ready to hear what he's found out, good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't care what it is. My second husband was an angel from God. He was real supportive of me because I miss being a mom. I wanted to be a mom to somebody. I applied and was accepted as a foster parent. I have not stopped looking for my children. I'll continue looking for my children. My life is hollow without my children. not only incomplete, it's totally hollow. I know that I have surrogate grandchildren and children, and they're smart kids and they're bright kids and they love me and I love them. But nobody can ever replace what came from your body.
45 years ago, Dottie says her 3 children were kidnapped by her ex-husband, Bill. Dottie says that she has spent over 4 decades searching for her missing children, but had no luck. So she reached out to my good friend Troy Dunn, otherwise known as the Locator, and he has found out information about your children. Are you ready to hear
Yes.
what he's found out, good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't care what it is.
First off, were you able to identify the existence of these 3 children?
Yes, we were able to confirm that there were 3 people with those names.
And are they alive?
Teresa is alive. Tommy is alive. And Timmy is alive.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I knew they weren't dead. I just knew it.
Well, he not only found out they're alive, he found out where they were, and of course the question then becomes, do they want to meet you?
Did they want to meet me?
Teresa and Timmy have said under the right circumstances they would be willing to meet you, and they consider this place, this moment, this time to be the right circumstance, and they are here.
Really?
They are
Babies
here.
are here.
Would you like to meet them now?
Please. Yes,
Right.
please.
Teresa, Timmy, come on out.
Oh, my goodness. Timmy! Oh, my goodness. I never stopped looking for you, baby girl. Never. Oh, my goodness. I had no idea where you were, what you looked like, who you were living with. I thought maybe he even adopted you out. You're gorgeous. You look just like me.
It's not just like you too.
I look like you too.
I sound like you. Your voice is just like mine.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, we even got the same glasses on.
Not the same color eyes.
I know. Oh my goodness, my baby girl.
I will say before we talk to these folks that your oldest does want to meet you, but he was a little overwhelmed by this environment and doesn't want to do it here, but is willing to talk with you. Correct, Troy?
Yep, that is exactly right.
I want to ask 3 questions.
Okay.
Are you married?
Yes. Well, I'm divorced now.
Been there, done
2
that.
kids.
You got 2 kids, boys or girls?
1 boy, 1 girl.
How old?
My son's 20, my daughter's 18.
Wow, I'm a grandma, a real legal grandma.
Yeah.
And
They
you
want to meet you.
Oh, wonderful. I want to meet them too.
No kids.
No kids.
No, I'm gay.
Are you really?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break right quick. Teresa and Tim, and listen, we, as I say, we deal with reality here, and Teresa and Tim say that their memories of their childhood don't even almost match up with their mother's memory of their childhood. We'll talk about that when we come back.
That's bad.
I did think she was dead because nobody has heard from her. Of course, I haven't contacted her either or tried to look for her or locate her or anything. I do wonder why now. Why, after all these years, does she want to make contact with me? I'm 50 years old. I have not seen or talked to the woman in 45 years. That's a long time to go without talking to somebody. I am full of questions.
Well, after 45 years of desperately searching for her missing children, Troy Dunn did the impossible. He closed the 45-year gap, and the family just reunited moments ago. Now, here's the deal. These two have a version of history that is very different from Mom. She says that you were flat out abusive of her and her brothers. What do you want to say?
You don't remember feeding me bourbon balls and pushing me in the bathtub and cracking my head open?
Never. I never did that to you. Whoever told you that was a liar.
How could it be a lie? I remember it very well.
It wasn't by me.
It was by you.
No, it wasn't, baby. I swear to God, it was not by... I never touched you.
You don't remember strapping Tommy to his potty chair and locking him in the closet?
Never. I never locked anybody in the closet. I got locked in the closet. Your father shot me with a gun in the closet.
Remember poking him with safety pins?
I never poked anybody
when he changed
with safety
his pants?
No, never. Ever. I didn't ever physically abuse any of my children. Ever.
You didn't fight for us, though.
I did fight for you.
I don't know. I don't know. I've personally never been a parent, but I would have never, ever given up looking for my kids. Ever.
I didn't.
Even if it was knocking down a door.
I did not give you away. You were taken away from me by your father. I never gave you away. I never stopped fighting for you. I've never stopped looking for you. I looked in 3 different counties and 5 different states.
He found me.
He's the expert.
Thank you, Donnie.
Well, but here's the... Listen, this is a relevant question. What he's saying is you didn't know where they had been taken.
That's right.
But their names didn't change. They were registered in the school system. You would only have to check 50 different states to find them registered in the school system somewhere. And what he's saying is 45 years is a huge gap that it took Troy's amazing expertise to close, but at the time they were missing, you had the ability to call schools. You had the ability to reproduce those records.
I did call schools, and I was told that their records were private. I could not touch them.
No, you're their mother.
Why didn't they give you
Not in the state of California. You are not a parent unless you have physical custody of that child.
That's just simply not true.
I don't believe
that. That is just simply not true.
I swear to God, that is what I was told.
You understand that Teresa believes that you didn't look for her because she believes you didn't want her because she remembers you beating her and injuring her as a child.
I have never touched her physically, ever.
You know, there have been, Dr. Phill, a few pieces of information that have surfaced that kind of, I would imagine, for you two would cause you some concern that maybe what you were told wasn't completely accurate.
Sure.
I mean, I believe, Tim, you told me that you have vivid memories of your mother coming to the house, knocking on the door, and your grandmother telling you children, it's your mom, go hide under the bed.
Correct.
Is that true?
That's correct.
Well, that seems like a mom that was trying in some way to find you. And it seems like somebody trying to hide you, doesn't it? I mean, I don't ever tell my children to hide under the bed.
It does. I mean, I think it was probably something that my dad did to protect us, because in his mind, or what we were told throughout our life, was that Dottie, and see, I've always known her as Dorothy, was abusive.
But the point he's making is not whether there was a reason to hide you.
Correct.
The point he's making is it does validate the fact that she was banging on the door looking for you time and time again.
Correct.
And you say, why weren't you looking for us? Even your captors, which we now know were your captors, were telling you, go hide, she's here again.
Correct. Looking
for you. The question is, what do these folks do now? Obviously, there are issues in the air. Are they too big to overcome? We'll be right back. Tim and Teresa just reunited with their mom, Dottie, known to them as Dorothy, after being apart for 45 years. Now, Troy Dunn made this reunion happen, and he's the author of the book Family, the Good F Word, which was recently published, actually, by our publishing company, Bird Street Books. I heard you say you have no doubt that these things did took place, whether she's in denial about them or not. You know them to be true. You think she's not being straight with herself and or you. But your point is, whatever.
It doesn't matter. I forgive her.
You forgive your mother.
Exactly. I'll never make it to the top of heaven if I don't forgive her. That's what I remember in my mind. Whether it happened or not, that's what I remember, but I forgive you. You're my mom.
You know, she actually... she actually held on to some of the toys that you played with at the time.
I don't believe I ever played with these.
You used to carry
a little dolly
in your pockets everywhere.
Do you...
and that
I remember my little dolly.
You do remember this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
45 years your mother has held on to that doll.
Yep.
That all by itself has to say something to you.
Well, of course.
Tim, are you opening to exploring having some level of relationship with your mother?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
And Teresa, you say you forgive her, and people can forgive but not forget, and this is something that obviously weighs very heavily on you. Has this satisfied your curiosity? You need to move on, or are you willing to start a dialogue with your mother and see where it goes?
Exactly. I wanna build a relationship with her and see what happens. I would really like my kids to meet her.
And you understand that this has to go a step at a time.
That's right. Baby steps, honey. Baby steps.
I did want to update you on a story that we worked on earlier. 2 years ago, when we met Karen and her husband, Tommy, Karen and Tommy had placed a child for adoption 41 years prior, after Karen became pregnant in high school. Now, Karen was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and so she was desperate to find that son she had placed for adoption before time was up. You two were high school sweethearts.
Yes, we met in our junior year in high school.
You had a baby.
Yes, right after high school. We just weren't ready at the time.
So you placed him for adoption.
So we did place him for adoption.
It's very common that, unfortunately, sometimes people make mistakes when they're young and then they go off and they go build new lives. But to end up together, married, all these years later, I was very moved by their story.
You feel some sense of urgency in this search, correct?
Yes, sir, I do.
Tell us why.
I've been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
I am so grateful to be able to tell you he's alive and he's here.
Let me introduce your son, Dave.
Oh, my God.
So, what happened after the show? Well, we caught up with both Karen and Tommy. Take a look.
Hi, we're Tom and Karen. Dr. Phill and Troy Dunn found and introduced us to our son that we hadn't seen since birth 42 years ago. And we continue to enjoy and love and cherish the time we have with our son and his family. We have a wonderful 12-year-old grandson.
We've had some grand experiences that we've never had in our lives, such as having Christmas and birthdays and things that have brought tremendous joy into our lives with our new family.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Phill, thank Troy Dunn. It just couldn't be more
and
wonderful.
Better. It gets better and better.
Well, Karen is still battling cancer, but she is defying doctors' expectations. We will wish them all of the best. Now, switching gears. Coming up, an embarrassing body issue affecting millions of women and what you can do to manage it. I've said I'm going to answer y'all's questions when you send them in, so I'm getting ready to answer one of your questions. We'll be right back. It's no secret that as you get older, your body begins to change, right? I wasn't always bald, at least this bald. And for some people, like my next guest, certain body changes can feel embarrassing at times. Take a look.
When I get the urge to go to the restroom, I have no time to wait. It's 0 to 60. I have to locate a restroom immediately. Laughing, coughing, sneezing will all result in a certain amount of leakage. The incontinence will range from a little bit of leakage to a full release of my bladder. In the past year, I've had to throw away between 10 and 12 pair of underwear. My kids know me for my various dances and facial expressions as I feel the urge coming on the Duke. It's a kind of traditional John Wayne cowboy walk. I then go to the mermaid. My knees are pinched together, and in the unfortunate event of an accident, I just kind of walk like a zombie until I get to my location to clean up. I feel it's hard for women to talk about this topic because of the stigma. I believe it is taboo. Is this type of incontinence normal? If so, how do I move past the stigma and start living my life again?
Well, Cindy's here along with Dr. Rachel Ross from the medical show, The Doctors. Good to see you again. As well as author and journalist Barbara Hannah Grefferman. So welcome to all three of you. Barbara, what do you say about this?
Well, you know, thank you so much for bringing us all together to talk about this very, very important thing that actually happens to over 40% of women over 40, believe it or not. And it's a sensitive bladder, also known as incontinence, that can also cause a bladder to leak. And that happens very often.
And it can be a result of weight gain, childbirth, some medications that you're taking. Yes. It can be a side effect of another common illness. And so as you get older, there are some things that we can do that can just make this a little more comfortable.
Absolutely, but really the key, though, is to never feel embarrassed about this, because clearly you're not alone. No. Millions and millions of women are also going through this, and that's essential. You never want to stop living your life. You never want to stop being afraid to cough or sneeze or stop doing the things you love to do.
You've actually found out that you weren't the only one experiencing this, right? Because when it happens, you get to thinking, oh, you know, I don't want to let anybody know about this, right?
Absolutely. As women, we sometimes talk about very intimate details of our personal lives. And it wasn't until I read about the show, signed up, that I realized in discussing with my friends that a lot more of them were going through this, and just nobody's ever discussed it. And as I spoke with them, 12, I believe I polled 12, 11 of my friends confessed to having some form of stress or urinary incontinence.
Really?
Yes.
Really? 11 out of 12 of your friends?
Yes.
Rachel, there are different treatment options, right?
Absolutely. There are plenty of different treatment options out there, including behavioral treatments. And if you've spoken to your doctor about that, bladder training is one big thing that we do, and also pelvic floor strengthening.
The pelvic floor muscle exercises are something every woman should be doing, whether they have this or not. And they're so easy to do, so discreet, you can just sneak them into your daily lives.
No one
standing
ever has
in line
to know
at the
that you're
supermarket.
doing them. And the best part
watching
of it
Dr. Phill on TV.
Yes, yes. All of those things.
All
and
of those
course,
things.
there are some quick in-office
Please don't make her laugh.
Exactly. But
these are all some new chairs.
Just as important, though, is being prepared with the right protection.
Yes.
Right? Now, Always has come out with a new line of products called Always Discreet, with liners and pads and also disposable underwear. This line also has a dual leak guard barrier, which is key.
So with there being so many options out there, as well as in-office procedures, particularly talk to your doctor about which option is going to be right for you. Because I noticed also you said that you wear more skirts now.
Yes.
Because it's much easier access when you're actually going to the bathroom. So
absolutely. It really does sound like the disposable underwear are the best option for you. Whichever you choose, you really want to look at sensitive bladder in the face and say, you know what, you're not ruling my life.
And the topic that you brought up is just opening up this a whole new world for women. So you're now aware of the fact that there's other options out there.
I'm glad you came to talk about it.
Did you learn something new?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. And Barbara, you're actually going to be on the doctors, and you're going to talk about this
Yes,
topic.
I actually can't wait because there's so much more to talk about. And until then, I really encourage everyone, including you, Sydney, to go on to alwaysdiscreet.com to find out more tips and to ask more questions very discreetly, anonymously, and also to look at some of the articles that I've written about living your best life.
There was one more thing that you wanted to share, Barbara, right?
Oh, yes, this is very exciting. Now, the line of Always Discreet products are available at Dollar General. And I'm very, very pleased to tell you that everyone here in the audience is leaving today with a gift card from Dollar General for $75.
Thank all of my guests for being here today, especially my good friend Troy Dunn. Troy and his team continue to stand ready to help those searching for a long-lost loved one. You can reach Troy at troythelocator.com. Troy's book, Family, the Good F Word, is available through our own publishing company, Bird Street Books. I'd also like to thank Dr. Rachel Ross and Barbara Hannah Grufferman. Thank you guys for enlightening everybody on this, and thank you for being willing to talk about it. For more information on today's show, be sure to check out drphil.com. We'll see you next time.
Today on Dr. Phil. Her sister is raising her daughter.
Did you choose drugs over your daughter?
At this time, I'm clean and sober.
Is she a fit mother?
You gave this to your daughter.
And I said no hoodie.
We don't want her in a hoodie, but this is okay?
You got arrested. You're on probation.
I am not.
This says you are on probation.
What will a drug test reveal?
You are not what I would consider drug-free. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phill.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phill.
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you very much. All right, while researching our story today, we found this private Facebook message from Mom Dana. Guess this is it. I'm not your mom, I guess. I really loved you. Bye. Wait a minute, what? Then we found a private message from Grandma Virginia. She writes, "Good luck. Maybe I'll see you when you're 18. So who are this mom and grandma writing to? Well, would you believe it's an innocent 13-year-old girl? Pack your bags. We're going on a guilt trip. It's all because Dana says her sister Jay is purposely keeping her away from her own daughter. Instead of dealing with this custody situation like adults, they, in my opinion, are putting a 13-year-old smack in the middle, and I don't like it. Take a look.
I decided to have temporary guardianship of my daughter given to my sister, Jay. Jay won't give me my daughter back. I have asked, I have pleaded, I have begged. It feels like a part of me is missing. I do hate my sister, and I hate the kind of person that she's raising my daughter to be. I do have a problem with Jay's lifestyle. I don't agree with what goes on in their home. She drinks alcohol like a fish with a bad liver, and she goes out and parties, and my daughter's around that. Jay is very harsh, cruel, kind of black-hearted. All Jay does is work. She doesn't teach her anything except cook your own dinner and how to scrub a floor. She's Cinderella.
Jay is trying to turn my daughter against me. She's calling me a junkie, whore, terrible mom. I want to have my daughter back. I cannot wrap my brain around why I can't have her back. I don't understand that. I'm done. I'm done with Jay. Done. There has been a competition between Jay and I our entire lives. I was always the smarter one, the prettier one. Jay has the ultimate thing to dangle over my head now. She has wanted her whole life to be me, and now she has the ultimate me. She has my baby, and she's not giving her back.
Well, there has got to be a reason Jay has guardianship of Dana's daughter, right? Well, Jay says there is a very good reason she's caring for her niece. Take a look.
Dana is a very bad heroin addict, and she also has mental issues. She doesn't take ownership for anything. My niece was born addicted to methadone. Dana started using heroin when she was about 15. Dana will be sober for a short amount of time. She will do really well, and then she relapses. When my niece is with my sister, I believe that it is a chaotic environment because my sister tends to surround herself with other addicts. My niece expressed to me one day that one of my sister's boyfriends put a knife to her throat. My niece does not feel safe when she is living with her mother. She's a master manipulator and is very good at covering up her drug usage and her alcohol usage. So it's extremely hard for anybody to determine whether or not she's sober at any point. I have a job. I have 2 jobs. Why can't she do that and be a good parent to her daughter? I want my sister to accept the fact that her daughter doesn't want to live with her. I hope that my sister will just sign custody over to me and let her daughter be happy and stop the fighting.
So you want this child full-time, permanent?
I honestly just want her to be safe and happy.
Well, that's not what you said. You said, I want her to just sign her over to me, to sign custody over to me.
It would be a lot easier, yes, if she did.
And you think that's the best thing for this child?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because my sister can't take care of her. She's proven over and over again that she cannot take care of her.
So you think she's at risk for relapsing? You
Absolutely.
think she's at risk for bad decisions?
Absolutely.
Are you?
I think any addict is at risk for relapse. But at this point in time, I'm clean and sober, and I deserve to have a relationship with my daughter, but more so, my daughter deserves a relationship with her mother.
If that's true, why is she 13 and has not been with you for over half of her life?
It has been a significant time that she has been out of my care.
Did you choose drugs over your daughter?
At some points I did. I chose drugs over a lot of things in my life in the
I'm
past.
not asking about a lot of things. Because let me tell you, I wouldn't even be here talking to you two if it wasn't for this 13-year-old child.
Right.
I am outraged at what you are exposing this child to, you and your mother. You made a choice, and you put drugs ahead of your daughter time and time again. True?
True.
So why would you do any different now?
Because I'm at a different stage in my life, and I've been clean. And
Is she? Is she at a different stage in her life? Why do you not have confidence that she's going to do the right thing here?
Because it's a cycle, it's a pattern. She's done this over and over and over again, and it seems that whenever she is sober, she plucks her daughter from her life whenever she's ready and uproots whatever stability that her daughter has. And it's not fair. It's not fair for this child.
She says at one point in her life, she saw you with a needle in your arm.
I don't think that that's true. My daughter lies a lot.
So your daughter's a liar.
She does lie.
I have 2 rules with children. One is you don't ask them to deal with adult issues. How would you score yourself on that?
I think I try and block her from as much as I possibly can.
And you don't think you have burdened her with knowing more about adult issues here than she should?
I ask her what she wants. And I have explained to her time and time again, if she wants to go back and live with her mother, I will support her, that she wouldn't be hurting my feelings at all. I want her to be happy. And she has flat out said that she does not want to live with her mom. She doesn't trust her.
She says she shouldn't be with you for a number of reasons. I made a list. She says, one thing, she's gained weight. She says, you're unhealthy, you're out of shape, and now she's beginning to model after you. True?
No, not at all. Are you aware what puberty is? Girls tend to get a little heavier when they're going through puberty.
Said she shows up, she's not even have clean clothes on.
What?
She's in filthy clothes when she comes from you. I'm just telling you, that's what you said.
That is a flat-out lie.
Is that what you
know
said?
it.
There was dog hair. Her underwear were soiled. There was...
Soiled?
Yeah.
Give me a break, Dana.
He says you smoke pot, you drink,
No,
you take pills.
Give me a drug test right now.
Okay. Glad you brought that up. I'll
And give
do
her
it.
one while you're at it.
I'll do that too. She says you allowed her to send bikini photos to a boy in class.
No, as a matter of fact, I grounded her ass for that. She got in big trouble for that because it was completely inappropriate. And then last night, she gives her a mini skirt, tiny little thing, and she's telling me that I allowed her.
You're saying that was offensive to you, that this picture went out?
She shouldn't be doing that.
I agree with you.
Did you buy her a mini skirt?
She took a bunch of clothes of mine from my suitcase.
You know what she did? She showed it to me last night and said, can you believe Mom gave this to me?
I didn't want to give her any of my stuff, but I have guilt issues, a lot of guilt issues.
You gave this to your daughter?
And I said no about the hoodie, and I said no about the pants, but
Okay, well, we damn sure don't want her in a hoodie, but this is okay?
Let me explain something to you. When she begs me for stuff, my guilt, I just end up saying yes.
What you're saying is, I'm here, I'm clean, I'm sober, I am ready to parent my daughter. I parent from guilt, I can't tell her no, I let her do things that are wholly inappropriate because I feel guilty, but I'm who should be taking care of this child.
And I'm working on that.
She was always prettier, she was always smarter, she was always more popular, and now you've got power over her. Is this sibling rivalry? And later...
Enough is enough.
Exactly. So stop.
There's always been the sibling rivalry.
You say they're spoiled, snotty little bitches. Who raised them? Wouldn't that be you?
My daughter living in Tennessee, I dislike in every shape, way, or form. The schools in Tennessee rate some of the lowest in the entire country. I asked her what she's doing for fun, and she said building fires. It used to be, I'm in baseball, I'm in Girl Scouts. Now it's I'm building fires. They'd get in full gear and drag themselves on the back of a truck on a mattress. There's some sex offenders close by, and she walks to the bus stop by herself. The food that they eat is not good. Her clothes aren't washed properly. It's not clean. It's not to the standards that it should be having a young woman in that home.
She says it was so bad that she was living in a house that was riddled with mold.
Our house did have mold in it, but that was not our fault. I mean, old houses sometimes have mold, and we moved.
She says you told her that her mother's an addict and she cannot be trusted.
I have told my niece that her mother is an addict. She actually asked me.
She told her she was born addicted?
I may have said that she was on methadone when she was born.
Well, you just a few minutes ago were just self-righteously indignant at me suggesting that you were asking this child to deal with adult issues.
She asks me questions. And I answer her. And I explain to her that this is an adult conversation, and I actually started off like that.
Well, as long as you tell her it's an adult conversation.
I think that
Come
she has
on.
formed an opinion about her mother because of the things that she has seen.
Did you tell her that her mother was a convicted felon?
Did I tell her daughter that? No.
I'm sure she did. How
Well, you
else
told
would
us
she
she
know?
did. Do you know that she did?
How else would
does she
my
know?
daughter know?
Does she know?
She asked me questions about it.
I
How
never
else would
said
she
that
know?
you were a convicted felon.
Did you tell her that if she didn't live with you, she would be in foster care?
No.
You said she did.
She did.
Where are you getting this stuff? She's saying it's true. One of you's not telling the truth.
When my daughter tells me these things, how else would she know these things unless she was being told that? Or unless it was being said in her house and she's overhearing.
I actually have told my niece that she will never be in foster care because somebody will always be there to take care of her.
She has said that you told her straight up those things were true, that she was an addict, that she would be in foster care if she wasn't with you, that she was a convicted felon.
No, I never
And
said
that your motive for wanting this child is money from the state.
Yeah, the whole 140 to 140 bucks that I get a month. Yeah. That really helps. And actually, I've had to get a second job to help pay the rent because we had to move into a bigger house. So your daughter could have her own room and her own space.
Is this just sibling rivalry?
I don't know what it is. It's hell.
Because she says that
love
you're
to have my
doing this
family
because
back.
you've always been second best. That she was always prettier, she was always smarter, she was always
that.
skinnier, she was always more popular, and now you've got power over her and you are grinding it in.
No, not at all. I don't want power over her at all.
Do you believe that? That's what you told us.
I do believe that. And I also think that I remember what it was like being 13. Boys, friends. You couldn't rip me out of where I was when I was 13 either.
So why are you doing that to her then?
A child should be with their mother.
If they're fit.
And I am fit.
Well, is that true? All right, let's take a break. Coming up, Jay and Dana's mom is here. You might be surprised where she thinks her granddaughter should live. We're going to find out what she says after the break.
I think my girls are snotty little bitches. My granddaughter's involved in all this. They do have to come together for my granddaughter.
And later, you say that you've been clean since 1113, right?
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes.
Do you think you tested positive for anything of note?
Jay is being disowned from our family. She has broken up this family. She has taken my daughter away from me, and that is not okay.
Well, Dana and her sister Jay are here because they are at each other's throats over who should be raising Dana's 13-year-old daughter. Now, Dana gave temporary custody to her sister Jay, but Dana says that she wants her back now. Her mom, Virginia, says that even after using drugs, going to rehab, and struggling with the law, that actually Dana deserves to have her daughter back. Take a look.
I think Dana's a really good mom, but when the drug addiction comes into play, she can't be a good mom. That's just impossible. At this point in my granddaughter's life, she would be better off with Dana. I don't think living with Jay is a good situation. It's an unhealthy environment. I think my girls are snotty little bitches. There's so much drama between my daughters. They send nasty text messages to each other all the time. Jay will push a button. She has called Dana a bitch, a whore, a drug addict, somebody who doesn't deserve a daughter, continuously badgering her. I think my granddaughter's playing both sides. She wants to be with her mom, but feels obligated to stay with her auntie. I think she's confused. She has been manipulated into thinking one way, and I don't think she should be taken seriously. I do worry about my granddaughter. I worry about her stability, who to look up to, and where to go. They do have to come together for my granddaughter.
Okay, so are you surprised at what your mother is saying?
Not at all. Because I have my niece's best interest in mind. And I do fight tooth and nail for her.
What do you have to say?
I feel like both of them are spoiled brats. And they've dragged this child in the middle of a mess. I try to bring them up in a very special, kind environment to get along, but there's always been the sibling rivalry.
Well, you say they're spoiled, snotty little bitches. Who raised them?
I know. Would you think that?
Wouldn't that be you?
Yes, and I will take that responsibility.
Here is a Facebook message from Virginia to her granddaughter. Now, this was August 28th of this year, 7:37 p.m., Virginia. I am not mad that you want to stay in Tennessee. I'm not being mean, but I'm actually glad. It gives me a chance to travel with my friends. There won't be any travel for us to Tennessee. I'm done with this whole mess, which means I won't be participating with you coming here for any vacations. Too much money. I don't know about Mom. Good luck with all that you do. Maybe I'll see you when you're 18. Seriously? You wrote that to your granddaughter?
I totally feel terrible about that.
Then you said, a few days later, you apparently recovered from feeling terrible because you said, your poor mother is devastated you stopped communicating with her or just enough for you to tell her you gotta go. My mother did far worse things than your mom ever did, and I won't stop communicating with her for $1 million. We think that you just wanted to come out here for us to buy you clothes and show you a good time. Well, that will never happen again, and not communicating with your mom is about the coldest thing I've ever heard of in a long time.
Terrible. It's terrible.
What the hell are you thinking?
I don't know.
I'm the one.
I don't know.
Were you sober when you wrote that?
I know, you would
No,
think.
seriously.
No, I'm totally sober. I don't drink or take drugs or anything. I got mixed up in the mess.
Did you know she was writing that to your daughter?
No. And as a mother, my heart is completely broken without her. I appreciate everything that my sister has done for me.
No, you don't.
But I do.
No, you don't.
From the bottom of my heart, I do.
You just said you hated me. You've told me you've never had a sister.
But enough is enough.
Exactly. So stop. Stop bullying me, both of you. This is ridiculous.
My daughter and I need to be together again.
You begged me to take your daughter for 1 month so you could go to rehab, and it turned into 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old. That's when she went back.
You've been to rehab
That was the longest
10 or
month
12
of my
times,
life.
right?
Correct.
You've been to rehab 10 or 12 times. And
she didn't have her that long.
You have had false starts with your daughter, taking her back on 5 occasions that I know of. There may be others, but on 5 occasions you've said, okay, I'm ready, let's bring her back, right?
Correct, but I did
And then that
have
fell
her
apart.
for 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and half of 6th grade. So there was continuous time that I did have her clean and sober.
You were not. You were not at all.
Until the very end.
No.
And
Was it during that time that this incident with the knife took place?
I don't know what incident that is.
Her daughter told me that...
What'd she say?
Her boyfriend was extremely drunk, and Dana was fighting with him, and her daughter stepped in, and he put a knife to her daughter's throat.
That is absolutely untrue. 100% untrue.
So your daughter's lying about that,
yes,
too.
Yes, that never happened.
And you think she's been brainwashed by your sister?
I do.
And you think that Tennessee is a bad deal?
I do.
Was it because a bunch of hicks and hillbillies? Is that it? I mean, is that what you're saying? Because that's how you describe it. You say the schools are bad. They go out and build fires and go in the woods. And
That's what she told us.
God forbid we have a bonfire in the backyard.
No extracurriculars. The schools are...
Well, being out in nature and building a bonfire sounds pretty extracurricular to me. Of course, now I'm a hillbilly, so... You're not on probation.
I am not.
You are telling me the truth.
I am, sir.
Eyeball, eyeball. You are telling
am.
me the truth. That's interesting because I have here this piece of paper. We've had a look at her grades and how she's doing.
Right. She's going to get A's.
And these are her achievements and awards. She has awards for high academic achievement, receiving honors in language arts in the 7th grade, high achievement, academic achievement, receiving honors in science in the 7th grade, high academic achievement, receiving honors in social studies in the 7th grade, received straight A's last year in the 7th grade, outstanding achievement for making the honor roll. We need to stop this. I mean...
She did that in Massachusetts, which was some of the highest school systems in the country.
You're concerned about the quality of her education, but yet for 7.5 years, you were doing heroin and didn't know whether she was coming or going.
That's untrue. I was only maintaining. I was not falling over.
Actually, you were. Do you remember exposing yourself, falling over, not wearing underwear in front of your daughter and her friend from school? And then your daughter told me that she never wanted to go back to school again because now the whole school knows that
that was one
you don't wear underwear.
But you just said, no, that wasn't true. I was just maintaining. I wasn't high on heroin.
Her daughter,
I was just maintaining on heroin like I was a good heroin addict.
No, that was drinking. That was no heroin whatsoever. That was alcohol. And I'm not denying the stuff that I've done in my past. But from
you got arrested
now,
in June this year.
And that had nothing to do with drugs at all.
Okay, you got arrested in June.
What did you get arrested for?
It was for, I took care of an old woman, and it was for...
You can say it, check fraud. You stole her checks.
But I didn't do it.
Well, actually, while Dana says she has been clean and sober for 21 months, she hasn't been able to stay out of trouble. Let's hear what she has to say about this.
I was arrested. I wouldn't have got arrested if it wasn't for my sister. I began working for an elderly woman. She would give me her ATM card. I had her PIN number and everything. There was 2 checks that I was accused of forging. Jay called the detective and said so many lies about me. And so they had enough probable cause to arrest me. I am not on probation now. No court fines, no nothing.
Well, you said you didn't do that, but you've pled guilty.
To get it over with. And that was on the advice of my attorney.
You might want to get a different attorney.
Right?
This attorney told you to plead guilty to felony fraud?
Yeah. Yes.
And to get it over with. So when in California, if you just plead guilty, they say, okay, we're done? Because you said, I'm not on probation, I'm done, I'm free.
I'm not on probation, I don't know any court fines, and in a year,
How can you
it's
not be
a
on
misdemeanor.
probation? You've pled guilty. They just said, okay, as long as you admit it, we're square?
I'm not.
You're not on probation.
I am not.
You are telling me the truth.
I am, sir.
Eyeball. You are telling me the truth.
I do not have to report into anybody.
You know, that's interesting because I have here this piece of paper. This is from the Superior Court of California, County of San Diego. July 25th, 2014. Dana, probation is granted to expire July 24th, 2017.
But I don't have to appear in, I don't have any probation officer or anything.
You're on probation.
I don't know what the conditions of your probation are because it doesn't matter. You are on probation. You said plead guilty to get it over with. This isn't over with until July 24th of 2017. You are on criminal felony probation until July 24th, 2017. This is the document.
Does it say I have to report into any probation?
What it says is that you are on probation. Well, you know what else these two have just said? They have said they are willing to take drug tests. I have a nurse. I have a nurse standing by backstage who is prepared to administer 2 drug tests. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have the results because they will be instantaneous. And up next, Dana's daughter is here, and I'd like her thoughts on being stuck in the middle of this adult drama. We'll be right back.
I I feel bad for my mom because I know she wants me back. And I feel bad for my aunt because I know that she's fighting for me because she knows it's not good for me to move back with my mom.
Okay, I'm heading in to talk to this daughter right now and find out how she feels about everything. Hey, girl.
Hello.
Dr. Phill, how are you?
I'm good.
So glad to meet you.
Me too.
You're 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're in the 7th grade or you started the 8th?
8th grade.
8th grade. Okay. How you liking school?
I love school. It's really nice.
Yeah. Now, you live in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you like it there?
Tennessee's really nice. I like it.
Listen, what do you know about why we're here today? About what we're talking about out there among the adults?
Well, I know that there's like lots of fighting going on, so I'm pretty sure that they were trying to work everything out and stop the fighting and,
How do you know there's fighting going on?
because I'm caught in the middle of all of it.
Yeah. How so?
Well, my mom wants me back, but my aunt doesn't think that she's ready, so my aunt is doing what's best for me and trying to have me in the best place that she thinks is right, and that would be with her.
How do you feel about your relationship with your mom and that you don't live with her?
Our relationship is okay. It's not that great.
Yeah. Why is it not that great?
Well, because she's like said mean things and said that she wanted to delete me from her life, but then wanted me back, so it's a work in progress.
How do you feel when you read stuff like that?
Well, I feel upset because it's my mom and that's sad.
I think some mistakes have really been made here. I'm sorry to say. I think you've been, as you said, drug into the middle of some things that you didn't really need to be in the middle of, and I hate that for you, and I'm going to try to get everybody to stop that. And here's the good news. You have a lot of people that love you a lot.
That's good.
Okay? I mean, they really do love you and want the best for you. But the truth is that adults, you know, they're people too. And you're heading in that direction. And you'll see sometimes when you have children, they don't give you a manual with them that says, you know, you get that on your iPhone, but they don't give you a manual for kids. And they sometimes don't know what's right and what's wrong. But I'm going to try to straighten some of that out today so you don't feel like a rope in a tug-of-war.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Well, I want to stay in Tennessee with my aunt.
But yet you miss your mother.
Yeah, but I don't think she's ready to have me.
Yeah, why do you say that? Why do you say she's not ready?
Well, she doesn't take, like, responsibility for things that she's done, and she thinks, like, I'm her best friend and doesn't really treat me like a kid.
Is that how
she
you
makes bad
feel,
decisions.
or is that what you've heard people say?
That's how I feel. But I've also heard, like, my aunt and uncle say that, but they've discussed with me, like, why they think that, and so I see why they think that.
Do you hope long term that you have a relationship with your mom?
Yeah.
Do you hope someday that you would live with her?
If she proves to me that she can have me, then I'll think about living with her again.
If you could send me out there with one message for these people, what would it be?
To get along. I just want everything to stop.
Yeah, you just want everything to stop. Well, how nice would it be if you didn't have to worry about all that and you could just be 13?
That'd be nice.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, it's good to meet you, girl.
You too.
I'm going to go talk to the adults and keep you out of it. All right.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay. Did you listen to my conversation with her?
I did.
What did you think about it?
Some of it was sad.
What did you think about it?
I think that she's a brave little girl.
I think what stuck out to me is she says all of you adults are keeping her in this emotional turmoil. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
You're guilty of it.
Yes.
You're guilty of it.
Absolutely.
You're guilty of it. And you people need to grow up.
Yeah.
You need to grow up and get her out of the middle. Now, you say that you've been clean since 1113, right?
Correct.
Is that true?
Yes.
And you say you've been clean for a long time.
Yeah.
We have a nurse here. She took a urine sample from you. It's called First Check. It's what's used in drug rehab programs. You've probably taken that very test before. Do you think you tested positive for anything of note?
Just what my prescriptions are for.
Well, you have a prescription for methadone
Yes.
and Vicodin.
The oxycodone, just one prescription.
And why are you taking Oxy?
I just had surgery on my foot.
Are you smoking marijuana?
No.
Are you doing cocaine?
No.
This says you are.
I'd like to send that to a lab.
I think maybe we should do a blood test
That's absolutely fine.
and take it further, because this says you tested positive for marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine. It also says that you were on ecstasy.
No. It was probably
No.
false positives for every single
No,
one.
it didn't. You did not test positive for opiates, heroin.
Well, then it's complete opposite. Cause
You didn't test positive for barbiturates, but you did test positive for the oxycodone, which
Yeah.
is a specific, and you are taking it. So it picked that up. It says you're on barbiturates, which are your muscle relaxer.
I just have a question. Did mine show up for marijuana?
No.
Thank you. I
Did
So
not-
please don't slander me and say that I'm using drugs like that.
I don't consider you to be drug-free. I don't consider you to be drug-free. I mean, this is not healthy. This is not good for you. I'm not saying you're abusing this. I'm just saying it's
Not
not
at
good
all.
for you. But I'm telling you, it's not good for you. Based on what I heard when I sat down with your daughter, do you get that she thinks you're not ready?
I get that she's saying this because she's a smart, manipulative 13-year-old little girl who wants to stay where she's at.
Did you hear her say things that make you believe that you've crossed boundaries and have said things that have dragged her into adult issues?
Probably so.
No, I'm saying based on what she said.
Yeah.
I said, because she said, well, you know, this and that. I said, is that what you think or is that what you've been told? Well, I do think that, but that's what I've been told by my aunt and by Jack. This is Jack. Jack, thank you for being here. You're her fiance, right?
Yes.
You say that she wants to live with you and Jay.
She does. We want Dana to succeed. We want her to successfully get her daughter back, but by doing the right things. To me, this is her tactic here is she doesn't have a job, she doesn't have a stable home, she doesn't have the things that she needs to get her daughter back, so instead she chooses to bully her sister, bully me, bully her daughter, so that eventually we'll throw our hands up and say, you know what, just take her back.
Yep.
That way you'll get your way. And it's just not right.
I'm going to tell you who I think should raise this bright and beautiful 13-year-old. You want to know? I'm going to tell you what I think when we come back. Number one, you people need to stop bickering and criticizing each other and using her as the battlefield over which you deal with the issues that you have had your entire life. You have issues with how your daughters have turned out. Your daughters have issues with how you brought them up. You have issues with your sister. You have issues with your sister. All of that goes on. Don't use this child as the battleground to vent those things. You just don't do that. You just don't do that. There's something called fiduciary. A fiduciary is when you put someone else's interest ahead of your own.
Right.
And you need to be a fiduciary for this child. You need to say, it doesn't matter what I think or feel, I need to put this child's interest ahead of everything else. So let me get to it straight up. This child needs to remain with you in your home, in your care, and under your tutelage. It isn't even a close call.
Thank you.
So that's what I think needs to happen with the child. The number one goal that I would have is for this child to reunify with you, her mother. And raising children is about sacrifice. And right now, the place where your daughter is thriving is in Tennessee. You need to go to Tennessee. You need to be where your daughter is thriving. You need to be where your daughter is thriving. You need to be there when she's getting ready for a dance. You need to be there when she's got a game. You need to be there when it's time to go to the mall on a day-to-day basis and continue this sobriety that you say you have. Let that string out and let her get a new history of realizing, you know what? Mom is the same every day. She doesn't go up, she doesn't go down, she doesn't get high one day and not the next, she doesn't relapse, she doesn't do this. She's there every day. I can emotionally trust her. Then you need to start rebuilding your relationship with her, and that's going to take some professional help and guidance, which I will personally provide to you and your daughter. So the two of you can rebuild this, and she can get out the things that she needs to get out, and you have the support of a professional saying, here's how we get on the road to getting you back. That will be my gift to you and to your daughter to get that done.
Thank you.
That's the gift for her. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information on parenting and custody, log on to drphill.com. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much.